story. ¿Vas a grabar algo?
Sí.
Pero no voy a dejar eso.
Vale,
Yo así,
tranquila.
no, no, que no sabía. Yo te vi con mi micro y dije, ay, estoy haciendo mucho ruido.
No te preocupes. ¿Ya terminas?
Sí.
Nos vemos. A ver si la próxima hablamos. Que ¿de dónde?
Claro que sí. ¿Cómo?
¿De dónde?
¿Yo? ¿De dónde soy?
Sí.
De Venezuela.
De Venezuela.
¿Sí?
Pero empezaba, no sabía si eras colombiana o qué.
¿Y tú?
Como yo soy colombiana.
Pero es que yo viví 10 años en Colombia.
Digo, porque me sonaban ciertas cosas que te dijiste.
Claro.
Tú
eres la de Colombia que me ha dicho Nacho. ¿Cuál es su nombre?
Ana María.
Ana María.
Sí,
Ana María.
sí.
Bueno, claro que sí, claro que sí.
Qué bueno. Pues sí, pues ya nos veremos la próxima.
Bueno, Carmen. Entonces nos hablamos, Ana María, seguro.
Perfecto. Cuídate, descansa. Gracias. Chao.
There's really not much place to talk about relationships because it's such a complex thing, and I think especially for women, which I think is like our natural way of being, just to be in relationships and to be able to capture what it is that we are in relationship to the other. We are seeing more and more how everything is a little bit like crumbling, things that apparently were working fine, and how the human being actually started to get more used to distort its image of what it or what it should do in order to live, what is the value of what we consider a value when we are talking about life in general. So we seem to be fine with it. It's everything seemed to be working out somehow because the mainstream, especially mainstream media, which is where we get most of our information, is all about spreading information about what the people that are in the top of the pyramid are saying it's working, because that's the only way to actually maintain something that is basically assuring that they stay in the same place, that everything stays the same. So here's the thing, is that the fact about life is not something static. Life is very dynamic process, a very dynamic process that includes many different systems that work inside a structure that is meant to serve the inner life of that structure. I mean, a structure without life has nothing, nowhere to go. And that's what we're seeing now. What we're seeing is like how the visibility of how structure that has gone long before, like, so here's life, and structure has just like made or pretended that this didn't matter, so it just keeps going off stream. So the thing is that there is another part of the spiritual tradition, even in the way that the mainstream spirituality has been spread a little bit upon, and is that they still, I mean, it's still somehow like a notion about how we are inherently valued, but that inherent value sometimes or often fails to be integrated into what does it mean that it is of value, what does it mean that we deserve something better, or for example, what does it mean that we are forced right now, which is the reason why we found it we find it worse day by day, and more in the recent years, to be able to establish some kind of stability. It is very difficult. Why is it difficult? Why does it seem to get a little bit worse? So the reason for this is that at this very moment, everything in the life is fractal. Everything that we do, everything how we are supposed to be living as a system that, let's say, should be working for all included, because that's like the natural intelligence of any kind of alive system. And the thing is that the resources of that set system, meaning energy, life force, emotional energy, willpower, everything has been redirected to things that are not serving the collective. This is not something new. This is something that has been going on for many different, millennia. So at this very moment, as we're seeing, like what we see in the earth, the resources are falling apart. Like everything is just apparently losing. I mean, we are losing the main resources of what actually allows us to be alive in the first place. But this is not as important, or many people just take it as a value of, also then we have to look for ways into maintaining these resources. But that's not exactly how we should do it, or how we should actually go about it. There are many different people, many different positions, many different people in different layers of the, let's say, of the consciousness of the planet, that may be already in the level where they can actually start doing something at a bigger scale for the humanity at large, for the planet at large. But when we're talking about individual people, when we are talking that what is really, or how we can really manifest this abundance or these states of higher consciousness, I like to talk about this, also a little bit like borrowing the vocabulary and a little bit the teachings that, for example, Teal Swan offers to the public. She's a reflector, apparently, in like the human design system. You can call her a reflector, a person that is here to reflect reality. And so it's like a way that we can measure where we are in the scale of things, in the scale of harmony, in the scale of functioning relationships. And she's focusing a lot about in relationships right now. And I think this is very important, because that's exactly how it is. So, for example, I teach English, and I had this student today that she was telling me about how she can say words, like how she learned grammatic, and how she can know the meaning of words, like, spread words, like random words. She knows it, but she couldn't make the relationship between them. And again, everything is fractal, so there is the same kind of thematic. We don't know how to make relationships between things. So I go about, for example, learning a new skill. I go to university, so I upgrade in a static direction my knowledge about something. But what I need to do is to actually connect these things to everything that I am, because at the center of everything that I go about doing on the outside, or that I learn or that I take from the outside, is me. The center is me all the time. So it's always about how I am relating to everything else, including, for example, language, including how our personal expression is, how or what do we entail by being with somebody else. I think that a lot of humans tend to forget that what makes the actual living system is not that is that I am me and you are you, and then everything, and we have like this little weird performance of identities and egos. Is how we are managing the energy inside these vessels that we call our bodies, our identities, whatever. So the personal space is something very important. How I'm sharing with someone. For example, I tend to emphasize the importance of expression, natural expression, bio expression, expression that supersedes, that is is a precedent for language itself. Because our bodies are always kind of expressing some sort of sound. Our bodies are always communicating in many different ways. And when we are talking about real relationships, we are talking about relation, like, is like a fake relationship, because I think that the notion of relationship comes from this Newtonian notion of objects, so like this object and this object are separate, so there is a relationship between these two, but they need to be separate. Although in our lifetime we are going to continue to engage with this type of notions like our relationship, the thing is that I would need to be in a position where I have integrated so much of the entire prism of life and expression that I am in a space, environment, activity, um, whatever, whatever kind of scenario that you can think of, and I am, I am. I may be expressing, I may be receiving, I may be doing whatever it is, but I am. So that would be like the natural state for us. But when we are seeing so much conflict and contrast and tension and friction, it is not bad, but it is a way that we can actually start seeing how or what is there for us to do. How can we empower ourselves? Empower, and again, I did this wrong. It's like I was saying like empowering. No, I mean more like empowering in our presence, in our being. So instead of trying to look for the degree that I would need in order to blah, which is like the old paradigm, because remember that we are just doing these things in order to be valued of value, in order to get the basic, most obvious things ever in life, in terms of resources, in terms of relationships. We have There is no way that by continuing down that stream we are going to magically solve everything, because we are still reaching for the outside. This is a very extractive nature of the human condition at this very moment, where I'm just like from the outside, I'm trying to see if ever, you know, and all of a sudden, I mean, and we are forgetting that this thing that is going for something on the outside all the time has an effect, has an impact. And believe me, like the more this is like the funniest thing is that the cultures that have integrated so much this ego building thing through degrees, through careers, through professionalism, through so many different like complex social structures, they are usually the ones that feel the most insecure. You know, is feeling insecure, is not feeling like you have power or value inherently to yourself. Now again, this is not to say that suddenly now we all should go without being professionals, or that we should just like drop everything, but we need to be very, very clear. Right now the resources are finishing, so we are not going to start or to keep on wasting so much of the energy that we are wasting. So what do I mean by this? Because is the general thing. So I go for work, I to get money, and I get money in order to go out, and I go out in order to be with people, and I am with people in order to feel accepted. I feel, and I want to be accepted in order to feel loved. And all of these things that we are doing, we're just creating like so many different templates to arrive to something that maybe from the beginning, if this was already accepted, the decisions that we would take from this place would be much shorter, and the way to get there would be already with this integrated, not as I already have it, but it is with a deep acceptance, which is at the end of the day what love is. So I want to encourage you to see where you are at the moment. What is the last thing that you would love to get? What is the thing that you really want? What is actually affecting you right now? And to, if you want to manifest the other thing, how can you make about the changes and anchor those actions that are coherent? Because here we're talking about coherence. The earth doesn't care if you believe or not that you are worthy. You need to act as if you are. Oh, I actually want to feel loved. Oh, but I always thought that love is this or that, or I should do this in order to feel loved. Okay, I understand this. Still, I need to go for it. Of course, there are certain things that will be asked from the field so that we can integrate that. But so much that the earth is asking, the earth or the cosmos is asking for more coherence, that also means that there is also like the potential for actually getting that coherence in quicker ways than before. So don't get overwhelmed with how long is it going to take you, because coherence is the action, is the motion, is reality in motion. So the reality in motion needs, even if it the only thing that I did in this month was accepting that I no longer want this, and I started already putting all my energy into going for something that I know that I need or want, even if I have no confirmation on the outside, even if I have already, like, I don't know if that's like the most correct thing, but that's the only thing I know for now. That is already coherent. That is already doing something. That is already like, some people don't understand this, but when you are like very sensitive like myself, I can see how like people create like templates of their energy. So it's like if you're watering plants, so that's already saving the planet. That is already doing something for the planet, even if you don't realize it. And the more that you keep doing this, then you're more able to actually see what I'm telling you. Because I only arrived to this clarity of seeing what it is only through coherence, only through going with what I knew was true. It wasn't easy. It was difficult somehow, like certain things that you're like, oh, but I love this person. For example, now I'm in a conundrum where I am accepting that I don't feel seen by a friend of mine and she's going through a hard time. So right now I am in this moment just seeing not only about this situation with my friend. It's like I don't feel recognized. I feel that all she does, for example, is like how she treats my space or how what I can bring to the table. I feel like somehow she's not valuing, and not specifically about her, but it's about why I don't feel recognized. So what would I need in order to feel recognized, or to feel that is actually something that is about me also, even though I can bring that unconditionality, but I cannot ignore the fact that I am starting to feel something. So it is not a zero sum game where I just get like, oh, just because I'm doing this for her, because I could have the mind rationalizing that and saying, oh, but it's the normal, that would be the normal natural thing to do. Or I'm selfish for thinking this because she's going through a really hard time. But I'm saying no, but I'm also thinking this. So I am already in the process. I'm holding that moment. I'm holding that reality. I don't need to have a response immediately. So I'm holding that reality, and then I'm just seeing what else is arising for me to be able to have into account, so that when the moment arrives, I make the decision, I do the communication, I or I change something else, or I realize something deeper that lies within this deeper need. So, anyways, I hope this helps, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.